There's a certain kind of exhaustion that sleep can't fix. It comes from replaying conversations that already ended, from thinking about emails you should have answered differently, from carrying comments, insults, awkward moments, and small frustrations long after everyone else has forgotten them. Most people don't realize how much of their energy is wasted carrying things that are already over. Mark was one of those people. He worked at a fast-growing consulting company where everything moved fast: deadlines, meetings, expectations, pressure. People admired him because he was disciplined, organized, and serious about his work. He believed in professionalism more than anything else. But beneath that polished image, Mark carried something heavy. He remembered every slight, every rude comment, every coworker who interrupted him during meetings, every message that sounded disrespectful, every moment where he felt ignored, dismissed, or unappreciated. His mind was like a storage room filled with old arguments nobody else remembered. And without realizing it, he had become tired all the time. Not physically tired, mentally tired. One autumn weekend, the company organized a leadership retreat in the mountains for senior employees. The goal was simple: disconnect from work, spend time outdoors, and learn how to manage stress more effectively. Mark attended because his mentor, Sarah, encouraged him to go. Sarah was one of the most respected senior partners in the company. She was calm under pressure, impossible to offend, and strangely peaceful no matter how chaotic things became around her. Mark admired her, but he also didn't fully understand her. During the retreat, the group went hiking along a forest trail after a night of heavy rain. The ground was wet, branches dripped with water, and the air smelled fresh and cold. Most of the team walked ahead in small groups, laughing and talking. Mark stayed near Sarah. As they continued down the trail, they eventually reached a huge stretch of muddy water blocking the path. It was too deep to step through without soaking your shoes and clothes. Standing at the edge of the mud was a woman in an expensive cream-colored suit. She looked frustrated and anxious. She checked her phone repeatedly and muttered to herself. When she saw the hikers approaching, she sighed with relief. "I'm already late. There's a wedding at the lodge nearby, and if I walk through this mud, I'll ruin everything." Mark looked around for another path, but there wasn't one. Before he could say anything, Sarah quietly stepped into the mud. Without hesitation, Sarah walked over to the woman and said, "Here." Then she lifted the woman onto her back and carefully carried her across the muddy stretch. Her boots sank deep into the wet ground. Mud splashed onto her clothes. The cold water soaked through her leggings, but Sarah said nothing. When they reached the other side, she gently helped the woman down onto the dry grass. The woman barely looked at her. She fixed her jacket, checked her watch again, and hurried toward the lodge without even saying thank you. Not one word. Mark stared in disbelief. Sarah simply wiped some mud from her hands and continued walking down the trail as if nothing unusual had happened. But something inside Mark immediately tightened. For the next several miles, Mark stayed silent. Not peaceful silence, angry silence. His thoughts grew louder with every step. That woman was rude. Sarah embarrassed herself. A senior partner shouldn't be carrying strangers through mud. What about boundaries? What about professionalism? And after all that, the woman didn't even appreciate it. The more Mark thought about it, the more irritated he became. Meanwhile, Sarah walked calmly beside him, enjoying the sound of birds moving through the trees. That only frustrated him more. How could she just move on so easily? Mark could feel the tension building inside his chest. His breathing became heavier, his jaw tightened. He tried to let it go, but he couldn't, because Mark had spent years training himself to hold on to things. Finally, after nearly an hour of walking, he stopped. "I don't understand you," he said sharply. Sarah turned toward him calmly. Mark shook his head. "You're one of the senior leaders of this company. You crossed professional boundaries for a complete stranger. You ruined your clothes helping someone who didn't even respect you enough to say thank you." His voice grew more emotional as he spoke. "And honestly, she was rude, completely rude. I don't understand why you would do something like that for a person who clearly didn't deserve it." The forest became quiet again. Sarah looked at him for a few seconds, without anger. Then she smiled gently. "Mark," she said softly, "I set that woman down almost an hour ago." She paused. "Why are you still carrying her?" The words landed harder than any lecture Mark had ever heard. Suddenly, the entire hike felt different. Sarah's clothes were muddy, her boots were soaked, but she was peaceful. Mark's clothes were perfectly clean, yet his mind felt exhausted. In that moment, he realized something painful. The real weight in his life wasn't work, it wasn't pressure, it wasn't deadlines, it wasn't difficult people. It was the way he carried every negative moment long after it had ended. He carried rude comments home after work. He carried failed conversations into the next day. He carried resentment into weekends, vacations, and sleepless nights. People said one careless thing to him, and he carried it for months. Sarah carried the woman for less than a minute. Mark carried her for miles. The rest of the hike passed quietly, but this time the silence felt different. For the first time in years, Mark began to notice how often he filled his own mind with unnecessary weight. Not every insult needed a response. Not every disappointment needed a permanent place in memory. Not every rude person deserved free rent inside his thoughts. Some things were never meant to be carried for that long. When the trail finally ended, Sarah cleaned the mud from her boots with water from a nearby hose. And as Mark watched the dirt wash away, he realized something simple but life-changing. The mind becomes heavy not because life is hard, but because we keep carrying what should have been set down long ago. That evening, while the others laughed inside the lodge, Mark sat quietly outside beneath the cold mountain sky. For once, he wasn't replaying old conversations. For once, his mind was still. And deep inside, he asked himself a question he would never forget. What am I still carrying that ended a long time ago?